So I'm just going to show you this without speaking. I'm going to break everything down and put away to show you just how quick I can actually do this. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Ulanzi's F38 quick release system and how you can use it to increase your productivity and make everything run more smoothly. Stay tuned. Let's have a look at the basic components of the Falcam F38 system. The whole system consists of 4 basic parts. The first one, and one of the most important, is the base plate, which is based on an Arca Swiss design and acts as a base plate on your camera. Without this, you can't connect your cameras to anything else. The next piece is a bottom plate or adapter that mounts to anything that you might want to connect a camera to. It can be attached to tripods with any type of mount, monopods, selfie sticks, super clamps, or anything with a 1/4 20 or 3/8 16 thread. That little knob that you see on the left-hand side of it is what you push to release the top plate. You can also rotate that pin to lock it. The piece to the top right is a shoulder strap mount kit, as you can see from the Peak Design anchors that have already been attached. This just allows you to have a shoulder strap where you can quickly take the camera off and on. I'll show you how that works in a minute. Finally, this one is a bit more niche, but it is a back strap clip that allows you to clip your camera on anything that has a strap. I'll also show you how that works in a minute. While these are the main components of the F38 system, there are a whole bunch of other more niche products that allow you to clip in the top plate. As you can see from this graphic, there are tripods for photography and video, camera cages, bottom plates, lens rings, and specialized gimbal arms that will accept the F38 plate. It's worth checking out the Ulanzi website for all of these products. Now let's see how all of these adapters connect. The most obvious piece to connect is the top plate, which connects to the bottom of any camera with a 1/4 20 mount. A quick release bottom plate can be used in a number of ways. In our first example, I connect the bottom plate to a Manfrotto tripod plate. This is done by screwing the Manfrotto's 1/4 20 screw into the bottom of the quick release bottom plate. I personally never take this plate off. The Peak Design travel tripod has an Arca Swiss style mount, which is also what the quick release bottom plate is made for. You can install this once and leave it. This applies to all Arca Swiss adapters. In this case, I am using the 1/4 20 mount on the bottom of the quick release bottom plate and simply adding it to the top of a monopod. The same applies for anything with a 1/4 20 mount, like a selfie stick or a super clamp. If you are connecting to something with a larger 3/8 16 thread, you can remove the 1/4 20 adapter that comes with the bottom plate and use it exactly the same way. Don't try to remove it with your thumb like I'm doing here. I already loosened it and I'm just taking it the rest of the way out. This last example is a little more complicated. I have used a double hold-fast moneymaker strap for more than 10 years, along with a standard hold-fast slider. This connects to the camera using a D-ring on the 1/4 20 mount of the camera. To convert this to an F38 mount, I purchased 2 universal hold-fast sliders, added 2 Peak Design anchor links, and the Falcam shoulder strap mount. Because of the fact that everything is doubled, the cost does add up to a total of about $140 US or 190 Canadian. Since this was the final piece for me to go all in with the Falcam system, it was well worth it. Okay, in this section I'm going to demonstrate for you how I use this setup using the Falcam F38 system while photographing both photos and video during a wedding. So when I'm transitioning from one section to another, like one that's mostly photography to one that has some video, then there's a whole bunch of things that I need to do, and this whole system kind of allows me to take care of those issues very quickly as opposed to screwing things off and on and that sort of thing. So to start with, when I arrive from getting ready and it's time for the ceremony, for example, I'm going to be setting up a bunch of static cameras because in order to do both, I can't be carrying around a video camera. So the first thing I do is I take the camera that I have on here. This is one that normally just has a macro on it when I'm doing getting ready. And for the ceremony, it will be dedicated only to shooting a wide angle of usually of the family reacting to what's going on. So there, I can just shove that on there, nice and quick. You notice that took 2 seconds, so that one's done. Then one of my cameras is going to be my primary camera, and that will be my main video camera for the ceremony. It'll be far back, it'll be pointed at the couple and zoomed in quite tightly. So we just slide that on here. Also, bang on. Also, what I do, this wouldn't be set up, it'd be in a video bag that I have behind me. This is a 360 camera, and I put it on a light stand because it goes nice and high, up to 14 feet. So I can just slide that on here. And of course I have to turn this on, or I just leave it until it's ready to turn on, but then I can put it super high. And that gives me an overall view that I can re-crop and reset where it's facing after the fact, so I don't have to think about it. One last camera that I have that I always use for usually a C cam, as we call it, is my Pocket 3. So that goes on here, slides right in. Would have been a lot faster had I thought about it. So that's ready to go. I have 4 cameras all set up for video. Normally I'd have 2 other cameras on here because I have one that's a A7R4. That's not as great for video as an A7IV, which this one is. My other A7IV is set up on the tripod here, doing the video for this, but that one would be on here. So I've gone from having a fully photo system to now having everything ready to go for video while I'm speaking. It was that simple to set it up, and then I just had to pick my spots and turn them on for the wedding, and also worry about the audio at that point. But you can see how much faster it is to do all this stuff as opposed to having to unhook something from one system, add in that system, and then do it later. So this is completely unscripted, done as a one-off just to show you how complex it can be, but it's allowed me to not have to stress out about things and allows me to just set everything up quickly. Hope that makes sense. So I just realized that it's equally important to show you how quickly I can break everything down. Once the ceremony is finished and I'm no longer doing any video, I want to get my cameras put away, and I want to use some of my cameras specifically for photography. So I'm just going to show you this without speaking. I'm going to break everything down and put away to show you just how quick I can actually do this. Here goes. And that's it. That's about as quick as you can get. Anything that I needed to use on me is put back on me, and everything that needs to be put away in a bag is put away, and then I can just grab all this stuff and throw it in my car, and then we're done. Very quick. One thing that I noticed just as I was finishing this video is that there's also very simple ways to use this system. For example, if you're walking around and you have a camera on you and you want to use a tripod, which is very common. It's why people actually don't use tripods very often, is it's quite a pain to get your camera off of your strap or off of whatever you're doing with it and put it onto a tripod. So as you can see here, I can just switch onto here, and it's just tightly bound in there as can be. All I did was I just took it off, and when I'm done with that, I'm ready to go again, and I can shoot normally. So this is about the most simple one you can use, but it's actually one I use all the time. I bring a tripod with me now wherever I go, so I can do longer time shots and do mixing of multiple images at the same time. So as with every system, nothing is perfect. So what I've noticed over the last few years, or whenever I've been looking at reviews of the F38 system, most of them are a few years old and have identified a few problems. Those problems include things like the plates not sliding in very easily from using that bottom or the top plate going into any of the adapters, or the top plate rotates while it's on there. It isn't tight enough. That's usually how things go these days when you watch these videos. What I've noticed over the past year, though, is almost all of these components have been updated to a version 2. They've all been improved, and improved to quite a large extent. For example, the backpack clip that I actually tried first, it was version 1, had all these little knobby things sticking out of it, so it actually hurt your hands to turn it. It would dig into your chest whenever you'd move, and the plate did not slide in. I actually used mine for a total of about an hour before I sent it back. Then version 2 came out. It's easy to install and take off, and the clip goes in easily, and there's no issues with it. So other than those issues that I've heard of from the past versions, there's almost nothing left. The only thing that I can actually say is still a bit of an issue is when you use the top plate on any device where you turn the camera sideways. So for example, if you have a camera like this with a heavy lens on it, which this isn't even the heaviest, but it's the heaviest one I have, and when you turn that camera to do a vertical shot on your tripod and you have the plate in the tripod, this becomes the pivot point and it can slide down. This isn't actually what this plate was made for, and thankfully there are things that you can use to avoid that. You can either use a cage, which has the plate all built in and can't rotate at all, or a bottom plate, or what I prefer to use is one of those rotating rings that goes around the lens itself that allows you to clip in either horizontally or vertically with no ability to actually rotate. So other than that, I haven't found anything else that I don't like about it. In the case where I do want to keep the Falcam plates tight, I keep one of these on me. Oops, I had it. I have a wrench on me that I use to tighten it whenever I'm starting a big project, just to make sure that nothing does get loose. So I'll put up a picture of what it actually looks like, one of these wrenches that you should always have on you regardless of what you're doing in photography or video. So that should about do it for my review of the Ulanzi Falcam F38 quick release system. If you have any questions about anything that I've mentioned here, please feel free to ask in the comments below. And if you found anything useful in this video, please feel free to give it a like or subscribe for future content that's very similar. Anyways, thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video. See you later.